Please no, that was scarring enough the third time. Welcome to WAIAAS, the podcast nobody else would make. I'm TAQ. With me today is my co-host, Salapeno.
Hello.
That's what she sounds like. And also joining us is a man who won't watch YouTube videos unless someone else puts them on. He enjoys books, comics, food trucks, and tank tops. And we don't know much else about him other than that he has a tech job because his identity is shrouded in enigma. Please welcome Knobbodiwork.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Welcome to WAIAAS.
So how's this week on WAIAAS treated you?
Pretty good. I can't even remember really what happened, though.
Oh, well.
We can give you a rundown if you're interested in that.
We'll get
Sure.
to the rundown right after this quick interview we've got planned out.
Okay.
Alright, you want to kick us off, Sarah?
With the interview?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we apologize for this interview in advance?
Oh, no.
I think it's great. Let's go for it.
Okay. Okay, Knob. How about you walk us through the most interesting food or cocktail you've made for yourself lately?
Well, one of my friends just bought me a bottle of ouzo for my birthday, and anise is a powerful flavor, so I've been desperately trying to find ways to mix it. And I found one that used, they called for Manischewitz, and we just happened to have a 3-year-old bottle that one of my friends, as a terrorist act, bought for me at the party. And so that's what I've been drinking. It's equal parts ouzo, Manischewitz, and vermouth with a splash of lime juice.
Whoa.
That is a confusing thing.
It's like the anise is like the most potent flavor, and then the sweetness of the vermouth and the sickly sweetness of the Manischewitz kind of balance it out a little bit. Pretty
Okay.
good though.
Ouzo is a pretty intense thing to deal with.
Oh, for sure.
Does that calm down the nastiness of ouzo?
Yeah, it's the two sweet things really balance out how strong tasting the ouzo is. The other thing I've been doing with it is ouzo lemonade, which is mint, honey, ouzo. You muddle it, then add cold water. Oh, and lemon juice. That's the lemon part.
Oh, that sounds like it could be tasty.
Yeah, the only problem is that you have to be careful how much lemon juice you add, or it gets super acidic. But you don't want to add too little because then it just tastes like an anise, karate chop to the throat.
Oof.
That's a fine line to walk.
Yeah.
All right. Well, carrying on. Why is Crobat your favorite Pokemon?
Oh, so in the Diamond and Pearl era of Pokemon, my friends and I played competitively, and my favorite team that I built, Crobat was my lead Pokemon, who was more like an anti-lead. He just was there to fuck shit up. You just use him to mess up your opponent's strategy, and he was a linchpin to my whole strategy. And so I just kind of latched on to Crobat because of that. Same reason I like Tyranitar.
Tyranitar's a disruptor.
Well, Tyranitar, not anymore, but back in the day was so powerful and had such a good moveset and stats and type line and ability even that you could be used for a bunch of different things. And one of the things that you can use is, I think it was called Tyrannoboa, named after someone who pulled it out at a tournament, and I liked it, so I stole his build and then incorporated it into one of my teams.
Awesome.
I have no further follow-up on that. That seemed incredibly thorough. So what board game would you suggest if you're talking to somebody and they've been playing things like Monopoly and Clue and they know that those are bad games and that there's better games out there, but don't really have any familiarity yet?
So that's the kind of game that is most often the kind that we can actually bring to the table. Lightweight games that only take maybe 30 minutes or whatever. Probably King of Tokyo or Magical Athlete is my favorite, but it's out of print, so I would not recommend it to someone because I think you can only get a copy for $60.
Ouch.
Pretty steep.
So what's King of Tokyo like?
It's Giant Monster Yahtzee, where each face of the 6-sided die does something, and you get a couple rerolls, and you get to keep some. And your goal is you can either win by victory points or by killing all the other monsters. And whoever's inside of Tokyo attacks everyone who's outside of Tokyo, and everyone who's outside of Tokyo attacks whoever's inside Tokyo. But the catch is that you can't heal while you're in Tokyo, so it's high risk, high reward. King of Tokyo really hits that vibe that I like with lightweight games, where there's enough of like a randomness that it's like fun and doesn't take forever, but it feels like your decisions are important.
Yeah, it sounds like an interesting game mechanic, having different zones.
It's definitely nice with new people having a little bit of randomness in the game, because that way, like, if you don't super know what you're doing and your strategy isn't the best, then you still have a chance to just get lucky also and maybe win.
Yeah. I've died a lot of times in that game when people rolled 6 punches, which is the damage side of the die, the face of the die. And you only roll 6 dice, so I have 10 max health. So 6 is pretty bad.
Oof. So that's like the equivalent of a Yahtzee.
Yeah, I guess. Although I guess the real equivalent of a Yahtzee would be there's a card that you can buy where if you roll 1 of each face, you get to do something busted. I forget what, but that one's obviously much harder to do.
Oof.
Especially because you don't get anything if you like mess it up. Whereas if you're trying to roll punches, any number that you roll still does something.
Right. All right. If you could force one book into every school's grade 10 curriculum, what book would it be?
My problem is I'm really bad at remembering when stuff is acceptable for children. Because it's just not something that I ever think about. So when I recommend
these are
to
like
people,
15, 16-year-olds. They can take
I mean,
it.
sure, to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's not like super graphic porn, we definitely read things that had sexy stuff in it in high school.
I guess as a junior especially I did. Maybe a comic. Because I feel like comics don't really, except for like a few memoirs, don't really get a lot of respect in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely think that graphic novels should be a bigger part of English curriculum in school.
Could be a little more engaging for kids too.
Yeah, sure. I know Persepolis is pretty common, or Mouse, maybe Bone.
Yeah, I mean, Mouse has a lot of like tie-ins to other subjects that you could probably coordinate with other teachers even. Like, it seems like that would...
Ooh, that is a good educational one, yeah.
There's a bunch of really good memoir ones too. There was one really good one about a Vietnamese woman whose parents fled during the war, but I don't know if I would recommend that to kids because it was brutal.
Oh, I just read the Feynman one not that long ago. That was pretty good. And
Which one?
Feynman, about Richard Feynman. It had like...
Sounds made up.
They drew out one of his, like a segment from one of his lectures, and it explained, what's it called? Probability theory in kind of the most grokkable way that I've seen.
Oh, I think I know. That Octavia Butler book about traveling through time. There's a comic adaptation, Kindred. And that would be pretty... Kindred is a great book, and the comic would make it like shorter and easier to do as part of a curriculum. It's about a woman who keeps traveling back and replacing, or like going to one of her ancestors who... It's a black woman, and her ancestor is like a little white boy who's a slave-owning family. And she keeps going back and forth between our time and his time as he grows up and becomes more fucked up because he's growing up in a fucked up society. But it's really good.
That sounds brutal.
The book is, but not
the comic book less so?
I feel like the comic book has to be less so. It's been a long time.
You don't actually know. It could be totally worse.
Yeah, it could be totally worse. It could just be like on-screen gore or whatever. But hey, it's like the only Octavia Butler book without Mpreg in it.
Oh boy.
She loves stories about aliens impregnating humans. Like, it's in almost all of her novels that are sci-fi, I think, and short stories.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's gotta be some sort of fixation.
It was about misogyny. That's how you pronounce that, right?
Misogyny?
Like, no. It's that, like, it's a word for, like, race mixing. MISCEGENY. I've never heard it pronounced out loud.
Yeah, misogyny sounds like that's how you would pronounce that.
Yeah, it's basically race mixing, which is illegal for a while in the US. And so I think it was a fixation on that, positing, like, the aliens as, like, colonizers, but of Earth kind of thing. All her stuff's good. It's just pretty fucked up.
Just vaguely unsettling.
Yeah.
That analog.
She wrote a sci-fi story about a populist right-wing president whose slogan was literally "Make America Great Again."
Whoa, how long ago?
The 80s.
Wow, that's impressions.
Did somebody find that book and read that book and then pitch it to Trump as some sort of like really twisted, fucking bizarre manipulation of the future?
Maybe like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Like when you find the almanac of the future.
Right, but like not as
I
useful
hope we
or
don't get
good.
that future. The future in that book was real bad. It was like private police forces and private firefighting. So if you don't pay the fees, you don't get policing.
Oh, hey,
And,
some people on the sub might... Oh, wait, no. She got kicked out, didn't she? I was going to say
Is
some
she
people
still
might
gone?
support that.
Yeah. So it's what would happen if a poor person existed in that world. But her thing is like it was like her spreading religion, which is pretty cool. I forget
Spreading
what it was called.
religion in the
Yeah.
dystopian ANCAP future.
Yeah, that's a pretty good summary.
Well, that sounds pretty interesting, too. How about we run over to the old rundown?
Yeah, we can do that.
All right. So this part of the podcast is the rundown, where we quickly go through all the top happenings from the last week or so of WAIAAS. First up, the Flare theme this week is male or traditionally male names. I was tagged as Kevin.
I got Dylan. Pretty traditional.
Nice.
Owen.
All classic, upstanding boys' names.
This is a weird flair, I gotta say.
There's weirder.
I feel like it's not as good a talking point as a lot of the other themes.
Yeah, a lot of the other ones are like good for jumping off into conversation, and this one is just like, okay, well that's a bit weird, and then it's done.
Mostly just people calling each other by their flair name.
Which is entertaining. Like there's some value to that.
I like the Little Rascals-esque art as well.
Oh yeah, nice job on that.
That took seconds to throw together.
Wow.
So also this week, Waiting for Rain got the showcase, and he's been just hammering through questions and giving us some nice insight on pharmacy life.
I'm trying to remember how much of what he said about that is public right now.
Some of it at least. I think there was a story about like the happenings, right?
But anyways, he's had some very justified complaints about his work situation there.
Bosses.
So hopefully that all resolves in a good way for him.
But also, there's still a few more days worth of asking questions. So get on the Discord and hammer him with a bunch of really awkward questions.
And fewer would you rathers.
Or the same number, because then it won't go up.
That's assuming that the podcast comes out like today or
Instantaneously?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's coming out instantaneously.
Yeah, we're just going to dump the raw data and just listen to the whole, I don't know, however long this is.
Yeah, we'll get Jess to just not edit it and post it right away.
I'm pretty sure we're nailing this and there's going to be no editing required.
I agree. No.
Yeah.
I'll take your silence as a yes. Alright, next up. The Discord lobby is now entirely automated. Newbies jump in, and the bot asks them what their Reddit handle is, and they tell it, and it sends them a secret code, and they post the code in the lobby, and then they're in.
Oh yeah, now that you don't have a grocery job, you're doing coding stuff again, right?
Hey, I was actually still working on the days that I coded that, so eat it.
Well, it's very elegant and super useful. It means that I have less to do.
Did you break it the first time, TAQ?
Ooh, that is true.
Did I what? Did I break it?
Didn't you break the automation the first time by deleting the something?
Yeah, true. It was.
He only had to automate it because he broke the last automation, but this automation is better.
It's
true.
Actually a lot better and more
It's
stable.
like when a forest fire is part of the natural, where the forest fire is good for the forest.
Yeah, exactly. The forest fire of me breaking things just
I think
opened up
our good
the
friend
seeds.
Brain would say that Fire Cult would be the purge we need.
Oh, true.
Sure.
All hail Fire Cult.
Indeed. So I guess we just touched on that a little bit, but TAQ has recently moved back to Canada, and he's living in BC and no longer works at a grocery store and can now sleep regular human hours.
Whoop whoop.
Can.
I did say can. We all know that he will not.
Oh, come on. I've been actually keeping regular hours.
But you're also working on a game, right? So you've got a lot of time cleared out for that, and
Yep. Doing that full time now.
that's all.
So are you
very
like
exciting.
a Canadian citizen or what?
Yeah, I'm a dual citizen, so I get to nomad around.
Neat.
Yep. Murdong, a relatively new WAIAASian, has a cat, which apparently gave birth to 6 babies. So congratulations to Murdong and their cat.
Did you say why Asian?
He did.
Is that not how that's how that's pronounced in my
Can we
head.
talk about that? Let's back to that.
I usually say, in my head, I say WAIAASian.
Yeah, I'm with Knob on this one. I'm pretty sure that you're wrong, Tad.
But it has the word Asian in
It
it.
does literally contain the word Asian, so I understand why you would, but I personally, that's not how I do
But also why you wouldn't,
it.
because it sounds like you're saying why Asian.
But in context, you get that it's one word. I'm not just gonna stop in the middle of a sentence and ask why Asian.
Just add a vocal fry on the end. News, why Asian?
So Jess also did a huge big game giveaway thread with a bunch of Steam keys donated from a few people, and he had a bunch of stuff left over from his monthly Humble Bundle things that he didn't use. So he did a big giveaway on Twitch, which was live, and I think he gave away 17 games, which is pretty amazing. And there was definitely some strange content on that stream, but everyone seemed very entertained.
Yeah, apparently somebody sent him a porn link, which he trustingly opened up right on that stream.
Yikes.
Someone from the subreddit?
No, I think it was just a random who saw he was streaming.
Who
Oh
just
yeah,
goes?
because he was just on Twitch, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he just publicly streams on Twitch, and I guess there's just people that wander around looking for a stream that's on.
Yep.
It's peculiar, though.
Also in WAIAAS news, Mr. Ran is up to 125 episodes of Mr. Ran's Music Mondays.
Dang, that's 125 weeks of WAIAAS.
Woo.
Whew.
Because I don't think he's missed any.
No, yeah, I think you're right. Well,
And I
did
think he
start
started
right
them,
on
like,
that first?
pretty much at the beginning. Like, if not, like, in the first week, then for sure in the first month.
That's insane. We would have flares up past 125 right now if we had kept up the old flaring system.
But
Wow.
instead, tyranny.
Yep.
There's a few new emotes on the Discord server. We have some really cute polar bear ones to celebrate one of our new Discord mods, Polar Bear. There's also a vibrating version of the face zoomed in, which is unsettling and amazing.
I've never thought to pronounce that burr.
I know that it's pronounced Burr, but I just think Polar. I've never, in my head, pronounced her whole name.
Wait, is it canonically burr? Did she say it's burr?
Why wouldn't it be Burr?
Well, it just looks like it's like bear, but like with a really, you come down really hard on the R, so it's like
Oh.
bear.
That could be it. In my head, I always assumed it was Polar Bear.
We'll have to get her on for confirmation sometime.
It's like Polar Burr.
Like it's cold. But there's no E
Yeah.
in burr.
Burr.
There's no
Uh,
EA, so it's not a long E.
And this is these emotes are kind of on the tail end of us adding a bunch of Burr emotes, right?
Oh yeah, we went to town on the walking, running ones. There's a lot.
It's a good meme.
We used to have like a bunch of food emotes, and now we used to be food themed, but now we're Burr themed, I guess.
I don't know if we're burr themed, but it's a
It's
great
pretty close.
meme for us to
It
ride.
is a lot.
It's the dawning of a new era for sure.
Because I think the only food one that survived was the devil's lettuce, right?
Mangry is still there. That's food.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Don't we still have shitty tomato?
Shitty
Oh.
tomato will never die.
And bean?
The bean will never die.
Yeah, I guess we still have a bunch.
Yep. And Trekkie, I guess, is under new management, but whatever.
You can just say inferior YS.
Oh yeah. The old broken decrepit place that once
Yeah,
was
the swamp
us.
that we emerged from.
Its leader abandoned it, and apparently its retention rates are really sucking.
As is tradition.
And their capacity is lowered to compensate for how few people are staying.
Yeah, they dropped it to only 90 slots, it sounds like, so that they have enough slots to add people back who get kicked out and want back in without having to go over 100, which is just like,
Because they can't.
We don't do that, right? We just don't bother.
We just add people on top, and then they get sorted into a lower slot on the next recap.
Yeah, you just don't have to add as many people next week, depending
Yeah, exactly.
will you lose. Which I think is more elegant.
Yeah, I think they just did the thing they did because they don't have a coder on board.
Mm,
And we have a robot.
Yep.
that we do.
All right, well, that concludes the WAIAAS rundown for this week. Our next segment is the Purge review. So if you have access to the WAIAAS Purge right now, we can open that up and nitpick all the newbies and people who got kicked and stuff.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, it seems like this is right up Knob's alley here.
Good segment idea.
So just to kick things off with this summary, we had 15 kicks this week and 11 ads. So we had a few re-ads, I guess, last week. That means we didn't have to add as many people this week to fill the slots. We had, for sure, 2 newbies get picked from comments complaining about reposts, and 1 newbie picked from a comment reminiscing about an old post. So definitely the theme of this week's newbies is reposts and old posts.
And we had 1 newbie who jumped into the Discord pretty much right after the recap. That was
literally instantly.
Yubber, and gave that new bot feature a run for its money.
Yeah, just like, what is this?
Too, right?
What's
Yeah.
up?
Pretty sure the idiots or whatever jumped into the Discord immediately after being added.
Well, after being... Oh, you mean back in the day? Yeah,
Last week.
that was back in the day.
I mean, yeah, I guess it technically was.
I think Natalie was a re-ad already at that point, though, right? Or no?
Yeah, I think Natalie's maybe kicked once or twice.
I think she got added without posting in the sub, joined the subreddit or joined the Discord, and then got kicked, and then commented this week and got re-added this week.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's something that people were worrying about a long time ago, which I think that's the first time that's happened.
Yeah, usually it takes a while, and then any newbies get immediately scared off by our enthusiastic greeting.
Yeah.
The welcoming committee is aggressive.
It's just like a big dog that isn't trained well.
But I still
It
have
just
to...
jumps on you.
Yeah, and then just like slobbers everywhere.
I still have to ping everyone when someone new arrives, though, because there's always... Like, it always seems like main is dead when I let people in manually before. So I'd just be like, yep, here's the Discord, and then nothing happens for a long time. And then I'm, all right,
So it's
everyone
like
get in here.
Yeah, you don't want people to have a bad first few minutes, right? Like,
People are
where they
easily
think there's
bored
nothing
these
going
days.
on.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And we keep getting not safe for work or not safe for work adjacent people too, because we got one this week too.
Oh, yeah, we got taco flavored taint in slot number 69.
Talking about do-it-yourself sex toys.
Fantastic.
That's dangerous. Don't do that.
It was
Yeah,
like
don't do that. That's unsafe.
a vacuum enema or something like that.
I thought it was like a vacuum like nipple thing. I hope it's not an enema. Don't put a vacuum in your butt.
I don't know, I was just going on hearsay.
I didn't click it because I saw it at work. Because I check what sub everyone is from
Oh,
first
man,
for all the newbies.
you're way less lazy than I am about skimming the newbies.
It depends on like what I've got to do at work or how active everybody is. 'Cause if everybody's on, it like builds like a kind of energy, I guess, where like we talk about the newbies in main
Yeah, more
in
hype,
Discord.
more potential for memeing. What else happened in the recap?
I don't know if
So
they
that-
got re-added, but we lost Caw King, who had been
Cause-
here for a little bit.
Yeah, I've got 14 upvotes on Cause King. I don't remember.
I don't remember anything about them.
Yeah, without the delta, it's hard to remember how long someone's been in sub.
Yeah, true. Let's see if I can quickly find some history on them.
The one guy that got added, his comment was just the word infringed, but spelled wrong and all in caps. And then so I went to go see what the context was on that, and it's from just like the memeiest gun subreddit that I don't understand.
Oh yeah, that says infringed.
It says infringed, yes. I mean, I guess I'm assuming that it's supposed to say infringed. I don't actually know that.
Maybe. No, I can't think of an alternative.
Maybe like
But
a
it-
combination of infringed and fingered.
But if you go look at that subreddit, it's just like it's only guns, but then they like ban people for posting about selling guns. I don't know. It's
Well,
weird.
that part's probably because when that shitty law passed, Reddit had to crack down on anything that could be like illegal. So you can't sell guns or do exchanges of booze or cigarettes or anything like that.
Well, in
Okay.
case it's illegal in one of the places that.
Yeah, because they made a law that websites are accountable for their users' law breaking, which is like pretty fucked up because it shut down like back pages, which
Yeah.
makes it like way more dangerous for sex workers.
Craigslist
Yeah,
had to
that's
make
not
some
cool.
big changes in response to that too, right?
Yeah, that's what Backpages is, right?
Oh, is
thought-
it? I don't know.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different thing. But yeah, either way, Craigslist was also one of them. Yeah, anything that could be like that is in like that gray area of legality too.
Right. Now the sites have to actually manage user content.
Yeah.
Lame.
So that's probably why they keep banning people about gun selling.
So is it like an ex-gun exchange sub that then just became memes after the regulation?
I mean to tell you, it's I spent like 10 minutes in it trying to figure it out, and I don't.
It's undecipherable.
To me, anyway.
Oh, for the next segment, which one should we do?
World news?
Yeah, but like, which article should we do?
I mean, I feel like we could do both of them. They're not very long.
All right, sure. You go first.
Okay, so the news I picked this week for something that's relevant to our community is there was a raccoon that scaled a New Jersey high-rise building and then leapt off into a sandbox and didn't die.
Incredible.
Yeah, so there's a video that is of like this, it's just scaling this sheer brick wall, and it goes up like 9 stories and then just flings itself off the building. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it because it's extremely good.
That sounds terrifying to me for multiple reasons.
Well, you've not had good experiences.
Raccoon PTSD?
Yep. I don't want that gang of snapping raccoons to start singing and dancing at me again.
Yeah, you get attacked by one raccoon gang and you're never the same.
I liked your synopsis of why this story should be included. You said raccoons are relevant to Asian interests, and this is a feel-good story about a death-defying garbage eater, which is basically the title of Peyton's autobiography.
I did nail that.
And in
but you have a news story too, right?
Oh yeah. In Ontario news, a tornado swept through the Ottawa-Gatineau area, which is where Bacon Witches lives, where one or both of his houses are, and apparently did some actual sizable damage on some areas. I don't know. Oh no, there were 3 tornadoes that touched down apparently. But anyways,
yeah,
Bacon Witches
pretty wild.
Bacon Witches checked in and said he's alive.
Knocked a tree over or something, right?
Yeah, he had some branches to clean up at his old house, adding to the constant stream of yard work he has to do.
He should really just sell that house.
Yeah, why doesn't he just go ahead and sell it?
Like, it doesn't seem that hard, right?
Oh yeah, he also added that that he went to IKEA and didn't realize that whole area the IKEA was in was without power, so it was open but only for cash purchases.
And that there were a lot, right? That people were fully just buying furniture, like nothing was wrong.
Oh yeah, just pulling like hundreds of dollars
of cash.
Yeah.
But who just has that much cash on them?
I said before, it's old people. Old people carry cash.
That much?
When I worked at the local university's arena, I worked on building the events, staffing them, and cleaning up after them to try and get enough hours. And one time after commencement, where like I think it was a high school commencement, cleaning up where like the parents were sitting, I found a money clip that had $400 of cash.
Jeez.
Just in one of those like office clips, not like a nice money clip, like one of those shitty black and silver ones.
Who does that though?
That's bizarre to me because I don't even usually have more than like $5 in change on me at any given time.
I keep $40 in cash in case we like go out to like a bar or something where I need cash, or
where they don't set you up at the tab if you have a card.
Just in case, sometimes for like covers, places are weird, or in case stuff goes down. Just as a just in case thing.
In case stuff goes down sounds ominous.
I'm
Someone approaches you with the goods and you need to show the stuff.
It's for bribes.
I meant more like the system goes down and they only accept cash.
Because you've taken it down?
Just in case you go to IKEA and you need that like emergency table stand.
But I also dated someone whose parents would pay everything in cash, and we would go out to like expensive restaurants and stuff, and they would just pay for everything in cash. So I know that's a thing that old people do.
It's bizarre to me.
Yeah, it
is.
But anyways,
it's a different world.
Bacon had to suffer through that too, so let's give him all of our thoughts and prayers.
Also, somebody that lives in Ottawa could buy his house.
Yeah, if he would just sell it already.
Yeah, this podcast is going to be how he sells it.
It's not impossible.
Someone in the sub is like, "Oh, I'm looking for a house in Ottawa."
We just need Kark to come back, and then he can buy it.
Bacon killed him, man. He
We already
denies
established
it,
that's where he
but
got his second house.
yeah, that's canon now.
Now for a word from our sponsors.
The WAIAAS podcast is sponsored by Baked Beans.
Buy baked beans today at your local supermarket or from this online ad right now. Baked beans, fresh off the baker.
All right, welcome back to Why Us, the podcast nobody else would do.
Seamless transition.
Thanks, guys. What are you guys' opinion on the discussion on the temporary showcase idea?
Oh, to have like a duo or whatever. It's only for like a couple days or something.
I think it's the idea that someone can reserve like a side showcase if they have something they want to show off that's within a specific time frame.
I like the idea as a concept, but
I wonder if it's worth like taking a test drive of like putting up a calendar and having people book like blocks of time, and rather than having it random for a while, just see whether we get better content that way rather than maybe you don't get a week, maybe you only get 3 days because that's what you can kind of commit to, and then you don't have like lulls.
That sounds
And
like...
then if there's days where nobody's signed up, we can just randomly assign somebody who said that they're cool with it.
That sounds like so much work, though.
yeah, I think your idea was like someone goes to a con or something, and then they get like a picture showcase, right? Is that kind of what you were thinking?
Well, it's Rain's idea, so
Like-
we'd have to ask him. But yeah, I think that's kind of the idea. I was thinking just that like already anybody can request a channel in secrets and make it public, so people can just
True.
pop something up there and then post all their pictures and stuff, and people will see it by default, and then we can just archive it afterward.
Yeah, archive it or delete it if they don't want things searchable later, or yeah, like anybody can make one, and that way that like if more than one person has something going on at the same time, there's not like, oh well, you got the special showcase this week, it can't be me.
Is there like a self-destruct option we could do, or would that be too sophisticated?
How do you mean?
Like on a timer, the channel gets deleted.
I mean, we can set a reminder to manually delete it, but I don't think Discord has the functionality to just delete it.
I could write that probably, but yeah, it would be just as easy probably to manually do it. So Nob, do you want to plug some comics and web comics that you've been following?
Sure.
Let's hear it.
I read like 100 webcomics, but Order of the Stick is the plot is like really accelerating, and he's been drawing it for like an incredible amount of time. So like actually explaining high level plot at this point is really cool. It's a D&D webcomic that's about like a high level D&D party drawn as like stick figures.
So that's been going for a long time. How would you recommend getting into that?
Just binge it. Honestly, binging, everyone knows binging media is great.
And super healthy.
Yeah, I mean that's why Netflix releases whole series now when they can, because they know what everyone prefers to do is to consume the media all at once, like intravenously.
Yeah, true. It's a pretty intimidating length on that one, though, isn't it? It's like hundreds, thousands of...
I think it's hundreds. I think it's 400 something. But there's a couple webcomics that I read that have been going that have, I think, thousands. I did one reread of Something Positive one time, and it took me like weeks, I think. And I spent like a couple hours a day doing it.
That's commitment right there.
Yeah, that's wild.
Is at my old job when my job was basically to like get stuff done when it popped into the queue, or if like something broke. So I had like a lot of downtime, and so I just figured I'd reread that.
Because you just had to be ready all the time. You didn't necessarily need to be doing anything all the time.
Yeah. I also needed to look like I was doing something in case someone walked past. So scrolling through something on my computer.
Furiously scrolling on your mouse is enough.
Yeah. Yes. And as far as like print comics go, we're kind of in a golden age of creator-owned books. Because,
self-publishing is really feasible these days too, right? Like.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because of like Kickstarter, I just kickstarted a book about like it's like gay forest creatures, like an anthology of comics.
That's pretty on brand.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I forget what it was called. Heartwood, I think. And then also Image, who's one of the biggest publishers of like individual comic issues. All you like pitch your book to them, and then if they like it, they all they do is give you an option of like what kind of paper you want, that kind of stuff, and then they just take a cut, and you come out with books as often or as not often as you'd like. So you're not like on a schedule, and you're not like a Marvel or DC where if you have bad sales, they'll just cut your book.
But they're doing
Which
all the
happens
like distributing and publishing and all that.
Yep, they handle all of that stuff. You just pick what you want, like what kind of paper, like what kind of stock for like the covers, what price you want to put it at, and then you handle paying your creative team, and then they just take a cut off the top.
That's super awesome. And you got some floor applause from Bella too.
Yeah, she was clapping.
Floor applause.
Oh, there she goes again.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other small imprints like that I don't know if they work like the exact same way, but they're like similar in that it's like creator-owned books that are like not Marvel or DC, so they don't have to worry about like working for a big company, because most of the big two books kind of suck.
Oh man, that's some shade right there.
There's good stuff, but there's so much that it's like bound to be junk, especially because they control what the writers are allowed to do. Like editorial is like really heavy-handed.
Is that just
and then
like
also they can't
to control the canons, or is there like
and
certain
also
stuff they're censoring?
They're worried about sales, and they want to tie, especially with Marvel, they want to tie into events, because event books sell a lot, because people or they at least they sell a lot of like the first issue because people want to like collect it. But I think it actually like doesn't work long term. But they want to like make it tie into the universe, and they want to make sure you don't do anything that's irrevocable or whatever.
Right.
And also they'll cancel your book if the sales are low, which happens to all the books that I like.
Yeah, that seems pretty restrictive.
They relaunched a book about Iceman being gay because it got canceled, and then they realized that it had a bunch of sales when the collected editions came out, because people don't want to go to comic book stores because they're kind of the worst, because they're filled with like horrible nerds who are like elitist to their customers. So like I totally get why people wouldn't want to go in there. So it had like really low sales, they got canceled, and then it relaunched when they realized that it could make them money in collected editions.
Oof, that's kind of a grim storyline for that plot line.
Yeah, individual issues for comic books are way down, but like collected edition sales are pretty up, I'm pretty sure.
That makes sense
because
to me.
Partly for that reason, because no one wants to go to a comic book store.
But they'll order something special, yeah.
Or like there'll be stuff at like Barnes and Noble or whatever.
Well, I think that also comes back to like what you were saying about binging. Like I'd rather read a whole storyline at once than subscribe to it.
I do it because I follow like particular creators, and I want them to have to get my money. And also some of them give you like there's bonuses for subscribing. But yeah, it's definitely hard to remember sometimes what happened, especially if the books don't come out that often. One issue a month is like optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a lot of time to have to remember what happened with like tiny details and things like that.
For sure. And so I do like rereads and stuff, which is nice. But yeah. But I like just that whole like the experience and like getting a bunch of different books. And there's so many good books coming out right now.
I don't know what she's excited about, but she just got out of bed.
And ran off at top speed, apparently.
Yeah, couldn't begin to tell you.
But yeah, obviously I even suggested this as a topic, and I'm drawing a blank for like what's coming out right now that's really good. I think one of my favorite writers right now is Magdalene Visaggio, who wrote this book called Kim and Kim, which is about two like bounty hunters in like a sci-fi future, but like kind of grunge.
Okay.
So grunge?
Yeah, it's like
dystopian or just dirty?
Kind of just like dirty. Like they're like poor because they're like kind of bad at bounty hunting. And they're like so they like do a job and make money, and then they're like, damn, we're like broke as shit. We need to like do a job. And they like kind of mess it up. And one of the characters is trans because the author is a trans woman. And it's her creator-owned book. And the aesthetic is really nice. Like everyone's wearing like, I don't know how I would describe it. Like maybe like kind of cyberpunk, but like dirtier, like cyber grunge. Yeah, I just coined that. We're gonna call it cyber grunge.
Okay.
But that's pretty good. And there's a new one of those coming out. I think it's called Oh Shit, It's Kim and Kim.
That sounds pretty awesome. Sort of Cowboy Bebop in essence, and then
Yeah, it's
what's that comic series that was like retro future? Kind of sounded like it had kind of similar characters where they're just sort of screw ups.
I feel like that's like semi-common, so that's. But yeah, definitely got Cowboy Bebop vibes, like sort of space western, but like less serious in tone.
More playful.
Yeah, and
That's
colorful,
fun.
way more colorful,
Cool.
and way more gay.
That's important too. Do we have anything else we need to cover here, or?
No, I think we've been going for a good amount of time. We don't have to brush over. All these. You left all your topics blank too, so. Yeah, we can go ahead and do an outro. Do you want to do the outro? I can do it.
I hadn't really thought about it. Do you have like a catchphrase or something that you wanted to, or a particular sign off? It probably makes sense for you to do the intro and the outro because you're going to be consistently hosting it all the time.
All right. Well, yeah.
Also,
okay.
I don't want to.
All right. That's it for the main segment of Why Us, the podcast nobody else would do. Thanks to Jess for presumably editing this and making it sound a little less disorganized than it is. Thanks to whoever made the YouTube channel art. I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, that was me.
Thanks, Sarah.
Well, I guess Kevin and Jess did the icon thing.
I don't think I've even seen it.
Oh, it's good.
It'll be on our new YouTube channel that people put together spontaneously since I started talking about this like yesterday or the day before.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty awesome. And thanks, Knob, for coming on and being our guest.
No problem. I love the sound of my own voice.
And if Peyton wants to come on and talk shit, I'm just going to leave the recording going. But otherwise, you guys are free to exit the realm of WAIAAS if you want to.
I'm going to go have some dinner, but thanks for having me.
Same for both.
All right, later, guys.